Discover the incredible hidden secrets of a poor woman's life-changing journey to true happiness. In a small Midwestern town, Mary's heart beat fiercely with hope. She woke before dawn, her worn shoes whispering against the cold hardwood floor, as she slipped into a world of relentless labor. At 34, she was a single mother, working 2 minimum-wage jobs just to make ends meet. Each night, she kissed her spirited 10-year-old daughter, Emma, good night, not just wishing for her dreams to be sweet but for a future filled with possibilities. Their laughter filled the small, cozy house, her father's spirit echoing through the walls. Mary cherished every crumb of late-night homework chaos, the math problems strewn across the kitchen table, the sweet smell of popcorn mingling with crayons scattered like confetti. Emma's smile reminded her of her late father, a decorated war veteran, who taught her resilience. But with every joyful moment, judgment loomed closer. The polite smirks from the town's elite stung like bees. They whispered behind her back about the life she chose, unable to understand her pride in working hard for her daughter. Why doesn't she just take the help? Look at those shoes. They say, their condescension palpable. Mary felt heavy with the baggage of their opinions, each gaze like a stone dropped in her chest. Then an illness struck. Emma, vibrant and full of energy one day, was suddenly bedridden the next. Days turned into sleepless nights filled with worry and mounting medical bills. The weight of these burdens pressed down, straining already shaky relationships with her extended family, who saw her struggle as a failure. Mary's hope flickered like a candle on the verge of being snuffed out. Yet amid the darkness, Mary dreamt. She envisioned a small catering business, her beloved comfort foods warming not just bellies but hearts. Cooking had been her escape and joy, a legacy of flavors her father had passed down. Surrounded by her secret visions of homemade pies and fragrant stews, she felt the spark of potential ignite, but regulations loomed like storm clouds over her dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as the weight felt unbearable, something incredible began to bloom in the heart of the community. Neighbors rallied, surprising Mary with love she never expected. Potlucks emerged and friends watched Emma as Mary delved deeper into her culinary dreams. Each act of kindness peeled away layers of isolation. Then came the Harvest Festival, a vibrant swirl of colors and laughter. But with it came her biggest critic, a wealthy community leader whose sharp words echoed through the crowd. They questioned her worth as a parent and her business aspiration. Mary took a deep breath, tears stinging her eyes, heart racing. With every ounce of courage she stood tall. I am worthy. My dreams mean something. Voices murmured around her. Stunned faces transformed from skepticism to admiration. In that moment of courage, Mary felt something shift not just in her life but in the community as applause broke the tension. Mary's heart thudded with newfound respect and connection. But just when hope surged within her, that same critic approached, extending a hand but with an ultimatum that sent chills down her spine. Could she hold firm in her newfound strength? Or would the shadows of her past threaten to swallow her whole? Mary's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the outstretched hand before her. It was an offer veiled in sweetness but laced with danger. The community leader, a tall figure draped in designer clothes, had a smile that felt more like a mask. Let us talk, she said, her voice smooth but firm. The crowd buzzed with anticipation around them, eyes darting back and forth. Mary sensed the weight of their gazes, as if every pair was burning into her skin, judging her reaction. Emma, sitting on the blanket a few feet back with a cluster of friends, looked up, her face a mix of innocence and worry. That glance anchored Mary. Listen, the leader continued, her tone shifting from congenial to commanding. I see potential in you. But to succeed you need the right connections, the right funding. I can help, but you have to play by my rules. Mary's heart raced. This was the lifeline she had yearned for. Yet there was a gnawing feeling in the pit of her stomach. Helping hands could come with strings attached. She remembered the way her family's whispers felt like chains weighing her down. No strings, she replied, voice steadier than she felt. If I do this, I want it to be done my way. If you can't accept that, then thank you for your offer, but I'll pass. The leader raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised by Mary's boldness. You think you can do this alone? A hint of mockery crept into her tone. You will fail. You'll see. But remember, I'm still here should you change your mind. With that, she turned and melted back into the crowd. The air felt charged, as if time had briefly stopped. Mary could see the surprise in Emma's wide eyes, and the anticipation etched into the faces of her neighbors. Had she just made a fool of herself, or had she solidified her dream? Just then, the warm laughter of her daughter broke through the tension, inviting Mary back to a safer space. Emma, ever the optimist, reached her arms wide as if to include the entire crowd in a hug. Mom! That was brave, she shouted. Her face flushed with excitement, Mary's heart swelled with pride. Maybe she wasn't just standing up for herself, she was standing up for Emma, too. Winning this battle meant more than just proving herself correct. It meant setting an example for her daughter about the value of being true to oneself. As the festival continued around them, Mary felt a new energy surging within her. She could smell the sweet apple pie from a nearby stand, and it filled her with ideas. Yet the critic's warning echoed in her mind. Failure loomed on the horizon like a dark cloud. Mary turned, looking at the faces that filled the park. Could they truly see her now? She was both the dreamer and the doer. She owed it to herself and to Emma to chase that catering venture, to turn it into more than just a fantasy. With the community's warmth enveloping her, Mary felt emboldened. Let us get to work, she whispered to herself, determination settling in her bones. But what she didn't expect was the mysterious package waiting at her doorstep when she got home. Mary pushed open the door to her small, modest home, the familiar scent of old wood and sun-warmed kitchen linens greeting her. Her heart was still racing from her encounter at the festival. She fought against the electric thrill of standing her ground against the community leader. Now, though, the air felt heavy with anticipation. The tiny package sitting on the kitchen table beckoned her curiosity as she approached it. The sight of it sent tiny shivers along her spine. Wrapped in plain brown paper, it bore no return address, just her name written in careful flowing script. It felt like an invitation, though to what she couldn't be sure. Slowly, she peeled back the string and unwrapped it, her fingers shaking slightly as the paper crumpled away. Inside was a small notebook, its cover worn and soft to the touch. A delicate pen lay alongside it, as if waiting for her to begin writing some grand narrative of her life. Intrigued and slightly apprehensive, Mary opened the notebook. The pages were blank, yet she could almost hear the whispers of all the dreams she had tucked away, silenced by fear and uncertainty. Mom, what's that? Emma wandered over, her brows knitted together with concern and curiosity. The way her daughter looked at her made Mary's heart swell again, a mix of love and responsibility. It's just a little gift, sweet pea, Mary replied, forcing a smile. But inside her mind was racing. Who sent this? What was it for? As the evening unfolded, they settled into their usual Saturday routine, Emma helping prepare dinner. Mary tried to shake off her unease, but her thoughts kept returning to the notebook. After putting Emma to bed, she sat in the living room, arms crossed and the notebook resting on her lap. What would she write? Ideas began to flood her thoughts. Recipes, dreams, the vision she had for her catering business. Could this little notebook be the spark she needed? She picked up the pen, hesitated, then pressed the tip to paper. I want to create something beautiful. Something that makes people feel at home. The words poured out until her eyes began to glance over the last few lines. She realized she was pouring her heart onto the pages. Dreams she had not dared to voice before were finally finding form. But just as she embraced this wave of inspiration, a knock echoed through the quiet house. Mary jumped, her heart jarring against her ribs. It was late, and the sun had dipped below the horizon. Who could it be? Her mind raced with potential scenarios, each worse than the last. Taking a breath, she walked cautiously to the door. Peering through the peephole, she saw a figure cloaked in darkness. Panic gripped her, but she gathered her courage and opened the door a crack. Hello? Mary, came a voice she recognized, though it was marked by an undeniable bitterness. It was the community leader. What do you want? Mary tried to keep her tone steady, but it wavered just a touch. I think we need to talk. again, the leader said, a smirk dancing on her lips. I hope you've thought about my offer. I think you might need my help more than you realize. As the door creaked open wider, Mary felt the notebook slip from her grip. It fell with a soft thud, the pages fluttering like captured dreams escaping into the night. She took a step backward, thoughts racing. Was this a chance for redemption? Or would it throw her deeper into a web she was trying to escape? The leader stood impatiently, her eyes glinting with expectation. Don't think too long, Mary. Time ISNT on your side. The knot in Mary's stomach tightened. This was more than just an offer. It was a test of everything she believed she was capable of. With her heart pounding in her chest, Mary faced the leader, determination flaring inside her. Which path would she choose? And would that choice define the future she dreamt of or bind her in the chains she vowed to break? Mary's heart raced, caught between the alluring weight of ambition from the notebook and the oppressive pressure of the leader's presence. She stood in the doorway, the chill from the night air creeping into her home. But it wasn't just the cold that sent shivers down her spine. It was the realization that she needed to confront her fears head-on. Let us talk, she said, steel creeping into her voice, more confident than she felt inside. The leader's smirk widened, and with a wave of her hand, she stepped over the threshold as if it were her own home. Mary did her best to ignore the surge of anger rising in her. Do you have any idea what you're getting yourself into? The leader began, her tone a mixture of mockery and challenge as she perched on the edge of the couch. Mary shut the door behind her. The action felt symbolic, a barrier between her past insecurities and her present resolve. This isn't what I want, Mary asserted, standing tall. Your help comes with strings I'm not willing to accept. Oh, but you don't even know what I can offer, the leader replied, leaning forward, her eyes glinting like a hawk ready to strike. You say you want to pursue your dreams, but do you have what it takes? It's not just about cooking. It's about influence, power, connections. Mary clenched her fists, the notebook nestled securely against her chest. In that moment, it felt like the symbol of all her dreams, a counterbalance to the leader's dark insinuations. I don't need power through manipulation. I want to create something real, she stated, her voice firm. Real. Oh, Mary, please, the leader laughed, leaning back and crossing her arms. What makes you think anyone will care about what you create? But Mary's heart whispered back, reminding her of the joy she felt every time Emma looked at her with trust. She thought of all the times she put her heart into cooking for their little family. The way food brought people together. Because I care, Mary replied, her voice filled with conviction. That's where real power lies. A shadow flickered across the leader's face, but then it was gone. Very well. Let us see how long that enthusiasm lasts when the reality hits. You'll miss the stability I can provide. Besides, the community loves you, but loyalty is fickle, Mary. You'll find that out sooner or later. With those words hanging in the air, Mary felt her resolve wavering for a brief moment. The community was tricky. They were as quick to lift you up as they were to tear you down. But the fleeting doubt was quickly swept away by the steadiness of her dreams. Her thoughts turned to the notebook, the stories waiting to be born. If she captured each moment, each flavor, and each memory, maybe, just maybe, she could build something unshakable. Mary, the leader's voice broke through her thoughts. You're still here. You think you can do this alone? I know I can, Mary insisted. And I want to take your path. I'll carve my own. The leader's eyes narrowed, and Mary felt the air thicken with tension. Suit yourself, she said coldly. But remember this moment. You may find I'm the only one who can keep you afloat. Mary watched as the leader turned, leaving through the same door she had entered. As the door clicked shut behind her, a weight lifted slightly from Mary's shoulders. The silence of the house enveloped her, wrapping her in peace. Placing the notebook on the table, she let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Her future was uncertain, perhaps chaotic. Yet, as doubts invaded her mind, she caught sight of the delicate pen beside the notebook. In that instant, the chapter of her life was not just burgeoning with trials ahead. It was filled with endless possibilities waiting for her to write them into existence. Then, as she opened the notebook again, a single thought filled her with excitement and dread. What if the next page held both her dreams and the struggles she'd have to face to achieve them? As she pressed the pen against the first blank page once more, the door flew open. Looks like we have company, the voice belonged to Emma, worry etched on. Her small face. Mom, I think something's wrong. Mary's heart sank. What fresh turmoil awaited them now? Mary turned to Emma, her heart pounding in her chest. The look on her daughter's face twisted her stomach in knots. What do you mean, sweetie? She asked, cautious but afraid to reveal the uncertainty bubbling inside her. Emma stepped inside, glancing around as if she were searching for something lurking in the shadows. I heard a rumor at school that Mrs. Culpepper has been talking about us. Mary's breath caught in her throat. Mrs. Culpepper was a respected figure in their small community. Her opinions carried weight, and gossip, even when unfounded, could spiral out of control. What did she say? Emma wrung her hands, clearly distressed. She said you're not fit to run the cafe. That you're going to fail, that we should be ashamed. Floods of emotions cascaded through Mary. Anger at the injustice, fear of the truth in the words, and an overwhelming urge to protect Emma from the whispers that could hurt her. That's just talk, sweetheart. People love my cooking, Mary replied, trying to reassure them both. But what if they don't? Emma's voice trembled, her eyes wide with concern. What if she convinces everyone? Mary knelt to look Emma in the eye, her heart aching for her daughter's vulnerability. We are stronger than what others say. I promise you the love we share is what matters. And I will fight for our dreams, she declared, though a flicker of doubt nudged at her mind. Emma nodded, but her worried expression didn't ease. What if Mrs. Culpepper tells them not to support you? Or worse, what if they believe her? The reality of those questions slammed against Mary's resolve. Could the leader's words echo in her community, sparking distrust? If her dreams held even a hint of fragility, it felt like a house of cards, ready to tumble down at the smallest gust. I'll talk to her, Mary said, standing back up. I won't let anyone break our spirits. And I won't let a rumor undermine everything we are building. But Mom, Emma started, her voice shaky. What if she won't listen? Then I'll make her listen. Mary felt a rush of adrenaline. It wasn't just her ambition at stake anymore. It was about protecting her daughter, their home, and the future she envisioned. Let us hold on to this, she said, gesturing at the notebook, because it represents something that can't just be erased with harsh words. Emma gave her a soft smile, and for a moment, Mary felt buoyed by the trust they had in each other. Let us write that down, Emma suggested, to remind ourselves why we're doing this. Mary picked up the pen, her hand trembling slightly, and wrote down a few words, a promise to both Emma and herself. We are more than our fears. We create out of love. The moment felt grounding, a shield against chaos. As she set the pen down, however, a knock echoed from the door, sending another jolt of anxiety through her. Was it Mrs. Culpepper? Stay back, Emma, Mary instructed, moving to the door with cautious steps. Peering through the peephole, her heart quickened again. It was Mrs. Culpepper, accompanied by a couple of other community members. They stood with crossed arms, faces tight, as if preparing for battle. What do they want? Emma whispered, eyes darting nervously. Mary's throat grew dry, uncertainty mixing with the fierce protectiveness she felt towards her daughter. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. But as she opened the door, she couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change forever. Can I help you? Mary said, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. Mrs. Culpepper smirked, a predatory glint in her eye. Actually, Mary, we need to talk. Mary braced herself, sensing her next battle unfolding. What exactly was the community's expectation? And how far would she go to defend her dreams? Mary stood in the doorway, a wall of emotions firing inside her. The tension surrounding Mrs. Culpepper was palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. She squared her shoulders, refusing to let the woman intimidate her in front of Emma. What's this about? She asked, forcing herself to sound calm. Mrs. Culpepper leaned in slightly, an almost predatory smile playing on her lips. I'm sure we all want what's best for our community, don't we? That's why I came today. Her voice dripped with condescension. Behind her, Mary could see a few familiar faces. Mrs. Grant, a kindly woman with a penchant for baked goods, and Mr. Wilson, an older gentleman who often sat at the cafe's corner table. They appeared tense and uneasy, caught in the crossfire. What do you want, Mrs. Culpepper? Mary repeated, steeling herself against the answer. Let us call a spade, Mrs. Culpepper continued, ignoring Mary's frustration. The cafe isn't doing well, is it? You know it and everyone knows it. You must understand it affects us all. She gestured towards the other residents, drawing attention to their uncertain faces. Mary's heart raced, anger mixing with fear. Every word Mrs. Culpepper uttered felt like a dagger aimed straight at her heart. That's not true, she protested. We're doing everything we can, and in what? Mrs. Culpepper interjected, cutting her off with a wave of her hand. Serving mediocre meals and overpriced coffee? You know there's been talk. People are starting to wonder whether you're fit for this. Emma stepped closer, clutching the notebook tightly against her chest, a small shield of hope amidst the chaos. Mom, maybe we should know. Mary breathed, turning slightly to face her daughter. She needed to show Emma that strength could stem from gentleness too. I won't let her undermine everything we have built. Mrs. Culpepper, sensing the growing comfort Mary shared with Emma, shifted her gaze to the girl. Sweetheart, you don't want to be associated with a failure, do you? Think of your future. That was it, the threshold crossed. Mary's heart swelled with protectiveness. You don't get to speak to her like that, she shot back, voice gaining volume. We're not failures. We are creating something beautiful here, filled with love and dreams. Mary felt the tide of uncertainty inside her shift. The warmth of her daughter's love fueled her courage. She took a step closer to Mrs. Culpepper, meeting her challenging gaze. If you want to talk about the cafe, let us do it right here, right now. I'll prove to you and everyone that we are more than just rumors. Mrs. Culpepper's arrogance seemed to waver for a moment, the slightest hint of surprise crossing her face before she composed herself again. You think this is about you? This is about what I believe is best for our community. I have the support of many people here. The murmurs of doubt from the residents behind her echoed in the air, stinging like bee stings. Mary felt all eyes on her, and for a brief second, she felt exposed and vulnerable, as everyone seemed to weigh the truth of Mrs. Culpepper's words. Support? Mary almost scoffed. Support isn't built on fear or gossip. It's formed through unity and respect. I am asking you, all of you, she turned to address everyone now, to stand with me. We can't let rumors drown our dreams. The room fell silent. Was this the moment they might choose to believe in her? Then, a voice piped up from the back. Mr. Wilson cleared his throat, visibly shaken. I love that cafe. I go there every chance I get. The unexpected support sent a ripple through the crowd, and Mary clung to that spark of hope. But before Mary could respond, Mrs. Culpepper shot back, raising her voice. This isn't over, Mary. You let me know when your cafe goes up in flames, and we'll see who stays to help. And mark my words, you'll need us long before you think you can survive this alone. As she turned to leave, something inside Mary snapped into place. She had never felt so certain about her mission or about protecting not just her dream but those who believed in it. With relief and a renewed sense of purpose surging through her, Mary watched Mrs. Culpepper leave, needing to make a plan. What now? Emma asked, anxiety still etched on her little face. Mary knelt down, a determined smile spreading across her lips. Now we make sure this community knows who we truly are. And we get to work. As they stepped inside the cafe, Mary's heart raced with adrenaline. But deep down she sensed that their struggle was just beginning. The next round awaited her, and she would have to be ready to face it head-on. What she didn't expect, however, was the tumultuous task of rallying the town and her own heart to their side. How on earth could she do that? The cafe was quiet as Mary and Emma stepped inside, the door's chime ringing softly behind them. It was early afternoon, and the sunlight streamed through the windows, dust particles dancing in the warm glow. Mary took a deep breath, trying to shake off the confrontation from moments ago. She needed to focus on what lay ahead. Mom, Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. What if Mrs. Culpepper is right? What if things don't get better? Mary turned to her daughter, the weight of those words pressing down on her. Emma, we are going to make it better. Promise. Her voice was firm, even as uncertainty swirled inside her. Mary knew they had a mountain to climb, but the sight of Emma's worried face broke her heart. How? Everyone seems so scared, Emma replied, her eyes wide and earnest. They'll all be scared if we let them stay scared, Mary said, shaking her head. We need to show them what we can do. Let us start by inviting the community and we'll host an open mic night. A place where everyone can share stories, Music, food. Emma's face brightened a bit at the idea. Like a big party? Exactly. We'll transform this place into a hub of laughter and support, she said, her vision sharpening as ideas sparked in her brain. They could bake together, create a menu that highlighted local flavors, and bring in local musicians to fill the air with joyful sounds. Let us craft something beautiful for everyone. And we can get people to share their stories? Emma asked, her enthusiasm growing. Like how Mr. Wilson loves his crossword puzzles or Mrs. Grant's secret recipe for chocolate chip cookies. Yes, that's it. Each story woven into a tapestry of who we are as a community. We can't stay silent. Mary's heart raced at the possibility that this could work. The two of them spent the next couple of hours brainstorming, filling the chalkboard wall with ideas, food, music, fun activities. As they worked, their laughter echoed through the cafe, mingling with the sense of fresh pastries from the oven. It felt good, like they were reclaiming their space. Just as they paused to catch their breath, the door swung open and a couple of customers walked in. Startled, Mary stepped forward. Welcome. Just so you know, we're having something special coming up in open mic night. The customers exchanged curious glances, their interest piqued. Mary felt a surge of warmth. They could turn this around one soul at a time. Will there be music? An older woman asked, her eyes lighting up. Yes, we want everyone to join in. Bring your stories, songs, anything you wish together. We'll celebrate our community. Mary smiled, the words tumbling out with newfound passion as more customers entered the cafe throughout the afternoon. Mary and Emma continued to share their idea. Laughter bubbled, and people began to express excitement. It seemed that she wasn't just fighting for her cafe. She was igniting a spark of community spirit in others. After a few hours, Mary took a step back to soak it all in. Their little cafe glowed with newfound energy. It wasn't just about the food anymore. It was about connection and hope. However, as she prepared to close up for the day, a familiar voice broke through her thoughts. Mary. She turned to see Mrs. Culpepper standing at the doorway, arms crossed, a shadow lurking behind her smug expression. What are you doing here? Mary felt the air grow heavy as past tensions stirred. It seems you think you can make a difference, Mrs. Culpepper sneered. But there was something else in her eyes. Was it curiosity? Intrigue? Watch us, Mary replied, surprising herself with the confidence in her tone. We're just getting started. The tension escalated. What would Mrs. Culpepper do? Would she try to sabotage their plans? Or might she find an unexpected reason to join them? As Mary locked eyes with her foe, she felt an electric thrill. Could this turn into more than a simple battle for the cafe? The stakes were higher than ever. What came next would determine not just the future of her dreams, but the heart of the entire community. Could they really rally everyone against such a formidable opponent? Mary's heart pounded as she held Mrs. Culpepper's gaze, feeling a mixture of defiance and the burden of everything ahead. The cafe buzzed around them, innocently oblivious to the brewing storm. What can you possibly offer that we don't already have? Mrs. Culpepper's voice dripped with skepticism, her eyes darting to the chalkboard filled with ideas. You think stories and songs will save this place? You're dreaming. Mary's throat tightened. The weight of doubt in Mrs. Culpepper's voice stirred a familiar fear. Maybe, she said softly, not backing down. But can you tell me what you have that makes people feel connected? That builds trust? This community needs to remember who we are. For a moment, Mrs. Culpepper's facade slipped. Mary caught a glimpse of something softer, perhaps loneliness or resignation beneath that hard exterior. But just as quickly, the walls reassembled. You're wasting your time, she said, practically spinning on her heel to leave, but paused as if deciding on something. You'll see how futile this is. Once she was gone, Mary exhaled sharply, her frustration erupting. I don't care what she thinks. Emma placed a hand gently on her mother's arm. Mom, you can't let her get to you. Look at all the people who want to join in. It's already working. The thought brought a smile to Mary's face, washing away some of the anger. You're right, she said, reigniting the energy between them. This is about hope. If one person can change, maybe others can too. As they wrapped up for the night, it felt like their ideas had transformed into a living entity, ready to unfold. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. They baked, decorated, and spread the word throughout town. Each new sign-up for the open mic filled Mary with a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. But in the quiet moments she would wonder if they really could do it. Could laughter and community truly counter the fear that had settled heavily over the town? Hours slipped by, and on the eve of the open mic night, Mary and Emma stood together in the cafe, their nerves palpable. They worked late into the night, preparing last-minute decorations. Emma looked solemn. What if no one comes? Mary knelt to Emma's level, her heart swelling with love and resolve. Even if just one person shows up, it'll be worth it. Maybe that one person needs us more than we know. This is about building bridges. Just then the door creaked open. A familiar figure walked in, silhouetted by the dim light. It was Mrs. Culpepper again, this time looking uncertain. She stepped in hesitantly, her arms crossed, but her expression was different. Mary. Yes. Mary braced herself, uncertain where this might lead. Curiosity got the better of me, Mrs. Culpepper said, a hint of vulnerability in her tone. I thought I might see what all the fuss is about. Had she really come to listen? To connect? The air felt charged, as if the universe was poised to shift in that very instant. Mary exchanged a glance with Emma, who stood wide-eyed. Why don't you share a story? Mary suggested, the words flying from her mouth before she could filter them. Mrs. Culpepper hesitated, the tension palpable. Would she step into the light and expose her truths? Or would she retreat back to her shadows? Both options loomed heavy in the air, pregnant with potential. The moment of truth stretched before them, ripe with possibility. Would this night truly become a turning point for everyone? Perhaps I will, she finally conceded. A small flame of hope igniting in Mary's chest. As the sun set, casting a golden glow through the cafe windows, Mary knew they stood on the brink of something big. Would tonight be the beginning of healing? Or would doubt still loom overhead? What path would Mrs. Culpepper choose? And would the open mic night unite the community? Or would it reveal deeper divides? The cafe filled with a hush as Mary turned to rearrange chairs, her heart racing. Emma stood just a step behind, wringing her hands, both of them acutely aware of the possibility of change that fluttered like a fragile bird about to take flight. And there was Mrs. Culpepper, now standing at the center of it all, the weight of years etched into her face. Are you ready? Mary asked, her voice steady, hoping to draw some courage from it. Mrs. Culpepper nodded, her lips pursed but her eyes shimmering with something unnameable. I don't often share my stories, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. It crackled, as if this moment threatened to break her, revealing the cracks she kept hidden from everyone. But maybe start where it feels right, Mary encouraged, coaxing her with warmth. The atmosphere was electric with expectation. Patrons began to trickle in, neighbors, friends, even a few hesitant faces from the older crew who usually avoided gatherings. Slowly the cafe buzzed back to life. Laughter punctured the air, mingling with the scent of baked goods. Mary felt an undeniable hope swell in her chest. It was all happening. Mrs. Culpepper cleared her throat, a gesture that seemed to draw the room's attention like a magnet. It's just a small story about a little girl who wanted to be free, she began, her voice gaining strength amidst the growing crowd. Mary's heart leaped with each word, each story inching its way out like a tendril of the past trying to connect with the present. As Mrs. Culpepper spoke, she described the frayed edges of her childhood moments of laughter, the warmth of a summer day, but also the shadows of loss and loneliness. The weight of it all hung in the air, thick and poignant. Mary observed the audience, eyes fixed on Mrs. Culpepper with a mixture of surprise and empathy. What began as a tentative tale transformed into a profound journey, familiar to so many. The room was no longer just a venue. It felt like a sacred space where hearts united through shared experiences. As Mrs. Culpepper's voice grew more confident, Mary noticed her shoulders relaxing, old burdens lifting, if only just a bit. A palpable shift occurred, threading a connection through the gathering. And I thought I'd never escape, Mrs. Culpepper concluded, vulnerability flooding her tone. But sometimes it's the stories we tell that set us free. The cafe erupted into applause, the resonating sound like a wave crashing against the shore. Tears glistened in some eyes, caught in a moment of collective healing. Mary could hardly breathe. This was the magic she believed in, the hope she had held onto fiercely. Emma rushed to Mrs. Culpepper afterward, beaming. That was beautiful. You should tell more. Mary joined in, yes. We all want to hear more. But then they saw it, the flicker of uncertainty returning to Mrs. Culpepper's eyes. Did she believe it? Was this the connection she had longed for? Or was she still haunted by the ghosts of her past? As the applause faded, Mary was struck by how fragile this moment felt. Would Mrs. Culpepper fully embrace this new version of herself, or would shadows from yesterday drag her back into isolation? In the midst of the jubilant atmosphere, Mary's mind raced. This was just the beginning. But would the courage shown tonight be enough to spark a broader change? What awaited the cafe and its community as the open mic unfolded? Would they take the leap into the unknown? Or would fear and doubt pull them back? The cafe was alive with laughter and chatter as community members shared their stories, the air buzzing with warmth and love. Mary stood at the back, her heart swelling with pride as she watched the space transform into a haven for hope and connection. Each tale told, each smile exchanged, pulled the threads of their community closer together. It felt as if the weight of isolation was being lifted, bit by bit, person by person. As applause filled the room for a local musician strumming a heartfelt tune. Mary spotted Mrs. Culpepper sitting at a corner table. The once stoic woman was surrounded by laughter and encouragement, pulling tightly at the facade that had kept her distant all these years. A spark ignited within Mary. Perhaps tonight could change everything. Are you ready for your next story, Mrs. Culpepper? Mary approached, her voice gentle. The older woman looked up, her expression a mixture of fear and intrigue. Perhaps, but only if you promise to join me, she replied, a challenge in her tone. But her eyes shone with vulnerability. Mary felt a jolt of courage. Deal, she smiled, reaching out her hand. Let us show them together what we've got. As Mary stepped onto the makeshift stage beside Mrs. Culpepper, the crowd quieted, eager to hear more. The moment felt monumental, a public declaration that both a dream and a former rival could stand united for the community they cherished. Tonight we aren't just sharing stories, Mary began, glancing at Emma, who sat proudly in the front row. We're building something real, something made of truth and love. I want you to hear about my journey, but I also want you to understand that it's about sharing our hearts, lifting each other up. Then, turning to Mrs. Culpepper, she continued, and we want to hear yours. The crowd shifted, anticipation humming through the air. With a deep breath, Mrs. Culpepper began. When I was a girl, I was afraid of being left out, of not being enough. I chased after perfection, of being the perfect daughter, the perfect community member, but lost myself in the process. As she spoke, her voice transformed. It wove a tapestry of lessons learned and regrets. I pushed people away because I was frightened they would see who I truly was. But tonight, seeing all of you here, I realize what I've missed, what we all have missed. Mary could feel the weight of the room shift, emotions palpable. The words hung thick in the air, resonating in ways no one had expected. Mrs. Culpepper continued, vulnerability shining like a beacon, sharing moments of joy alongside mistakes and sorrows. With each confession, the crowd leaned in closer, their collective breaths held tightly against the extraordinary depths of this embrace. Tears glimmered in some eyes as they recognized bits of themselves in her journey. Mary stood beside Mrs. Culpepper, the warmth spreading through her like an electric current. In that moment, barriers shattered, and as the stories flowed freely, laughter mingled with tears, creating a powerful shared experience. When Mrs. Culpepper finally finished, the cafe erupted into applause, louder and more heartfelt than anyone could have imagined. Mary felt a rush of exhilaration. They weren't just individuals in separate lives anymore. They were part of something bigger, a community woven with compassion, resilience, and hope. Emma jumped up, clapping with all the energy her small body could muster. Mom, that was amazing. Mary wrapped an arm around her daughter, a radiant smile lighting her face. We did it, Emma. We're on the way to bringing this place back to life. Mrs. Culpepper's once imposing presence now felt warm, the corners of her mouth lifting in a slight smile. I've been so lost, but perhaps it's not too late to change, she murmured, a hint of fear replaced with newfound courage. Mary stepped forward. You've already begun. This is just the start for all of us. We can create a safe space where stories of triumph and sorrow mingle, where every single one of us can feel seen, heard, and cherished. As the night wore on, individuals took turns sharing their own tales. The cafe echoed with raw emotions and laughter, blankets of comfort that wrapped around everyone present. By the end, a vibrant energy surged through the space, electrifying hope and camaraderie. Mary looked at Emma, her heart full. They had collectively turned a moment into a movement. The cafe, once on the brink of failure, now pulsed with life and connection. Mrs. Culpepper, standing by Mary, was no longer a rival but a kindred spirit. They had come together against adversity, crafting a legacy that would resonate for generations to come. As the final song played and the last heartfelt story was told, Mary took Emma's hand and stepped into the embrace of the community around them. This was where they belonged together, hand in hand, forging a brighter future. "Let us make this a tradition," Mary said, looking at a room invigorated with passion. "Every story is a step toward healing. Every voice deserves to be heard." Cheers erupted around her as she beamed. This was just the beginning, a glorious dawn shining brightly over their dreams, their hopeful hearts intertwined. As Mary found solace in knowing they had weathered the storm, she couldn't help but smile at the path ahead. The journey would be challenging, no doubt, but she had a community, a daughter, and dreams ready to blossom. Now it was time to create something beautiful together. And you reading this, you need to subscribe now to keep up with these uplifting, transformative stories. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and spread this journey of hope. Comment your thoughts and feelings about tonight's incredible transformation and share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to feel this inspiration. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans know that community and connection are what drives us all.